How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. Today it is Sean Ryder and me, and I here chopping it up. What's going on, man? How have you been?
Just trying to come up for air. We're gonna chop it up after a few weeks of craziness. I think for both of us, we're working on projects, but we got to slip in some podcasts between Thanksgiving and now, so it's good to connect back with you. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, you've been busy. We've both been busy. We got to, hopefully, the final 2 weeks of the year are going to be a flurry for me as well. So,
well, let's start with that, man. We're going to shoot the shit today. And basically, this is going to be a conversation between Jeff and I on catching each other up on our projects. And you guys just get to be the listeners to see how we talk about what we've been working on. So you're saying the last 2 weeks of the year are going to be a flurry for you. What are you referencing and why?
I just bought a rental property 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. We just finished the rehab yesterday. The walkthrough's happening today. The appraisal's getting ordered, and we're going to refi that thing. So hopefully I'm only going to be in that hard money for 2 payments. So that would be pretty good. Right now, the numbers are looking like I'm $18,000 ahead in the projections that I even had before. So it's turning out to even be a better deal. Part of that was because of the private money I went and got instead of using institutional hard money, but not to go down that rabbit hole. So that thing is progressing nicely. We've got 100% occupancy at our other rentals, and we are doing a walkthrough on Thursday on the storage project to do punch list, because that is finished, like 97% finished right now. We need to pour some rock in the back and then get it moving. We're actually going to sell it, so it's going to be prepared to go on the market starting week after Christmas, something like that. And then we'll start putting the feelers out for who wants to buy a fully updated storage facility, which shouldn't take very long to sell based on us having done all the work to it now. It's just plug and play for your operator at this point. And then so that'll finish in the next 2 weeks, and I've got another little 7-figure refi that I'm working on that is supposed to be in final underwriting today, and I'm sitting here waiting with bated breath for my clear to close, because I want that to hit today so that we can close Friday before we get into the mess of, because one of the things that I didn't account for is that, like, with the holidays on Wednesday, I think whatever ability you have to eke out productivity is gonna really dry up on Friday of this week, just because of like bank holidays and the way that people are going to be motivated and the way that they're going to take their vacations. I think that we're looking at like a 2-week dead period going into after Friday. So good luck to those of you that can persevere and keep getting shit done. But I plan on doing admin and planning and rest and family time. So how about you, man? What's up?
Well, kudos to you for getting through all that. I feel like we're supposed to finally refi on the first 2 Burr properties with my Burr partner down in Texas. That process has taken a long time. Like, he texted me last week and was like, man, this underwriter is putting us through the ringer. I need XYZ. And it's like, I pull out my computer, send the millionth document, and it's like, so hopefully we can clear to close and get that through. So kudos to you. What was, before I get into my shit, what was the final, like, give me the 1-minute version of why you guys have decided to sell the storage unit instead of leasing it up and then either holding it, or I knew the goal was probably sell it at some point, but you're just going to sell it before the lease up.
Yeah, we're gonna do the lease up. We're in the process of getting that started. We had to get the final sign off from the city on our electrical permits, and once those are approved, then we can start leasing. We'll be doing that as we go ahead and list it. The We were up in the air on whether we were going to hold it or not, and the whole project, because we were doing this for proof of concept and track record, which is the same thing we're doing with this 5-house build that we're about to start too, that I didn't mention, but like that's going on right now as well. I don't have experience doing ground up construction, so we're doing a 5-house build down in Corpus Christi. We're going to build it, and then we're going to sell all the properties, and rather than buy and hold them. What that'll do is it'll open up our track record to then go out and get institutional funding and also have the experience to do it. We're doing kind of the same thing with storage, meaning like we could go out and now buy distressed storage facilities, show our track record with being able to flip them, and then if it makes sense, then go buy and hold eventually. But like these things are 7-8 caps probably. So the ability to go in and take a chunk of money out of it and roll the capital on down the road to these next projects that we have is kind of where we're at. That's kind of where I'm at in my investing life cycle. So if I can take a few big licks of a couple 6 figures, 7-figure, and roll it into bigger projects that we're working on, that's what I'm looking to do, and that was my focus going into last year. So I'm just kind of continuing that frame of mind. So if we can take the net profit and capture it today, because like I was saying in the group the other day, I said if you can 10x your net profit for 1 year in one transaction, you should go ahead and sell that transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so this particular storage facility would make us money, certainly, but we have the ability to capture that 10x in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And so for us, it makes sense to go ahead and capture that net profit for the work that we put in and then roll that into the next projects.
Well, because you started with the portfolio, I mean, my portfolio hasn't been what I've been working on, but it's something that, you know, when I talk to annual planning with my wife, we reassess our holdings. And it was nice that you brought that up on the call the other day about the rule of thumb of 10xing your profits, because we had already decided to list our commercial building, because I'm just looking at the equity number and I'm like, I can't do anything with this.
It's dead.
It's a pretty good chunk of change. I'm like, well, the cash flow's good, but you know, is there something that I could move this into that's, I don't want to say risky, because it has, knock on wood, it's been a great investment, but like, could I move this into something else that doesn't have, you know, the potential to have a large expense? And so and now looking at that rule of thumb, it's like, okay, yeah, that does meet that criteria. It exceeds that 10x cash flow criteria. So there's nothing for me to do there. It's listed, it's on the market. It's a huge commercial building, so the pool of buyers is smaller than, you know, your little $100,000 burr investment. So I just have to let it sit there. But you know, my strategy at this point is see what happens over the next 12 to 18 months with it. If it sells faster than that, fantastic. But if it gets to that 18-month period, now we're looking like we would be like 6 months away from the 5-year cash out refi. And so if rates tick down a bit and we feel the appraisal will come in well and we can cash out 80 to 90% of the value, then at that point, you know, maybe we will hold it and just take the money out that way. I'm just not going to cash out refi a commercial loan that's 3.75% or whatever the hell it is. It's under 4%. So the only way I can get that equity is by selling it. So we're testing the market, but that hasn't been what's been on our attention. We've opened up a Metabolic franchise. That's been a wild process. Wild's probably not the right word. It's just been a good process. So, you know, we started that process back in April, and the first 10% was really fast. I was on the backside of it. Now I can recognize that I was blissfully ignorant on. I thought we would be able to get one up and running very quickly because, like, all right, I already have a location. I can sign a lease today. the build out's going to be like 4 fucking walls and an HVAC system and just painting it and filling it. Just totally ignorant to the build out process. I mean, to get architectural drawings that take, a week or two just to change one thing, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So the first 10% was really fast. The middle 80% was really slow. And then the last 10% were really, really fast. But, we're fully operational now. We've gone through a 2-week opening. The first week was our founding members. The second week was a free week to the community. And this is our first week fully opened with our full schedule, normal schedule. And we're no longer selling the founding memberships. So that's a bit of a change. But from a results perspective, not really what I want to talk about, but I will say, putting in the work, we broke the Metabolic pre-sale record.
Yeah.
By about 20% more than any other Metabolic over the past few years. So that was super exciting. I don't want to harp on that too much because it really doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
We put in 3 months of marketing and getting out in the community and running pop-up workouts and doing social media and all that stuff. And we're going to continue to do the social media, but like the strategy changes a little bit now. So like, yay, yippee, like we have the head count that we doubled what I ran my numbers on. I was like, okay, like if we get here at open, I have 3 to 6 months to get where we need to be. So the fact that we doubled that original number, I'm super excited about it. But you know how it is. It's like now we actually have to do the damn thing and we have to service people and get results. And the fitness industry is brutal and people are fickle. And but the positive thing and what I really want to talk about was like coming from the experience that I had as owning an affiliate model gym from a CrossFit industry versus going into a franchise system. Franchises aren't the end all be all, but if you get into the right franchise system and they have the right plan, holy shit, dude, being on the backside of it it's crazy to think what I went through in my 20s, just building a gym from scratch. So if other affiliates or other gyms would be like, what was the process? What was different? It's like, well, I can't just bank on it saying like, hey, franchise is easier. But from my psychology, it was like when I was in my 20s, I didn't really see the value in paying someone else money to be told what to do. It was like, oh, I can figure it out. Oh, as long as we have a good product. And then the older you get, the more you realize like, I probably spent more money making mistakes and paying someone else to get the answers from the mistakes I made than if I would have just invested in something that was more concrete. And so like, not to knock on CrossFit, but like you hear it also from owners. It's like, well, we like that CrossFit that doesn't really tell us what to do and blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, cool. I get that. I was there before. But one, you're probably losing money by not having a consistent plan. Two, while you get people to move to town that were CrossFitters in other towns and they're looking for another CrossFit gym, because there's no standard set in place and there's no consistency across CrossFit gyms, you have more people moving to your town that aren't looking for a CrossFit gym because they had a shitty experience at another one. And not to say that there might be bad Metabolic, but like there's a consistency within them. The programming's the same. The way we run the clock's the same. The music is similar. The branding is similar. The logos are similar. The vernacular is similar. Like all this primal branding stuff that I presented on, like Metabolic is a great example of what a primal brand is. And so like that, I see the value in that differently than what I did in my 20s. And so that's really, really exciting. And now I will certainly make individual personal mistakes, sure. But there's really very minimal space for me to make a business mistake because the whole plan is there. I should be doing this with this. I should be doing this with this. If a client has this situation, they ask this question, this is why we have this in place. Whereas before I would just be flying by the seat of my pants. So there's very little wiggle room for that issue to happen. And so that's what I'm most excited about in regards to that business is it's Tuesday of the first full week and I'm not there, right? Like I did coach last night.
Yep.
That Monday nights are the night that I'm going to coach 2 classes. But I went in today to work out at a dead time, and then I left. I'll be there tomorrow with another team member and clients, and I'll be there Sunday. I'll float in, float out, but like I get to pick up my kids and take them to gymnastics tonight. And so that's just totally different. What took me 5 or 6 years to learn and actually accomplish in my first fitness business technically took me before opening on this one. Now we
Mhm.
like I said, we put in a lot of work. It wasn't like just snap your fingers, but like we opened on day one where my other gym took 5 to 7 years to get to. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it is. What a juxtaposition. But you probably weren't ready for that when you were in your 20s, like you talk about. I mean, the things that you mentioned are simple ego and wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, can you separate yourself from your ego, and can you become coachable, and like also understanding what an investment is. I mean, we talk about this all the time with regards to coaching, mentoring, masterminds, networking type stuff. I think people overlook the element of spending money for speed,
Mm-hmm.
and and so, kudos to you guys, man. I think you're in a great position. I think it's going to turn out to be a lucrative business for you guys because of your experience and because of your lessons learned, some good, some bad. But I mean, regardless of the benefit of hindsight of the first 12 years was that, like, you're going to get an ROI for paying that price
Yeah.
and learning those lessons the hard way, right? And so, like, now those fruits of their labor are going to show up in a different form than you ever could have probably imagined.
Yep.
Like, you think of you year 5 with your previous gym, imagining 10 years in the future, oh, I'm going to own a franchise, and it's going to be a couple day a week job for me. We're going to have an operator. I'm going to be completely hands off. You probably would have never been able to fit that into your head at
Yeah,
that
and
point in
like I
time.
mean, we can be fully transparent in regards to like apples to apples. I could have very easily. I mean, me and my wife put some of our own money into it, and we took money from the bank, and we're servicing that debt via just running the business, and that's something that I wouldn't have been able to like understand in my 20s. And I could have very easily taken that same money and put it into something that's less active, less fickle, less tough, whatever. But like from my psychology, like I have some of those investments, and I told you originally, it's like I still feel connected to. I love fitness and I love business, and I still felt pulled towards wanting to be associated with a fitness business. Now, our goal is to hold this thing and turn it into a real business. The interesting thing about franchises is there's always options when you're in a franchise system. If things don't work out the way that they are for you and your family or your team, and so there's a lot more prospects going down this route than I, imagined in the prior businesses. But it feels good to walk into a business that we've had to nurture for 8 to 9 months and turn it into something cool. I think talking to the gym owner specifically, it's kind of cool. I've mentored numerous gym owners, and there's a recurring theme where it's like some of them, and I was there too. It's like if I could only just close my gym down for a few months and reset like everything that I want to change, but I'm too afraid to change it because my clients love it. Like that's what we've
Mhm.
literally done. We have people aren't allowed to bring their kids to Metabolic, and so dude, when someone says, "Hey, can I bring my kids here?" and the answer is just no, like it makes life so much easier than, "Oh yeah, we have a kids corner, but you have to work out next to the kids corner because we don't have childcare options, so you have to
Yeah.
take care of your kid." Like no, like what a like the those little things I'm realizing like holy shit, like I made life so hard for us in the
Yeah.
previous gym. You guys lock the doors at the start of class? Yes. What happens if I'm a minute late? You don't get in. Oh, okay. Okay. Like it's just so much more simple to just have all these policies put in place. And like I know I appreciate your support and saying that it pay off. It's going to require a lot of work, but we're excited about it. My wife is really excited about it. She's, the cool thing is like there wasn't a gym like this in our town. Me and my wife stopped doing CrossFit. She started going to fucking Orange Theory, and she didn't like the results that it got on her body. And now she's back to strength training. She feels good. She feels more confident. And of course that feeds into, the family F that we talk about in the Tactical Empire is like, if you feel good about what you're doing in regards to your fitness, it feeds into the other areas of your life. And so now that we have 146 members coming in, I dropped my kids off at daycare this morning, and one of the husbands to one of our members, he came in as a drop-in last week and worked out next to me, and he got out of the car and he's like, I was like, how you doing? He's like, oh, it's nice to be able to walk, again. And we
Yeah.
laughed it off. But his wife was in my class last night, and I was like, hey, your wife did fantastic. I said, hopefully she's enjoying it. And he's like, she absolutely loves it. And like those are the little things that married couples don't realize. If you're enjoying what you're doing in regards to your health and fitness, it will feed into the other areas of your life. And so, just so Jeff and I aren't just spouting at the mouth about what we're doing, like this is reaping the reward for us, but also the people that we're in contact with. So that's
Yeah.
exciting to
Yeah.
see. It's just been an overall pleasant, pleasant experience. So, but anyways, from the other side of it, we're trying to capture some of our equity. Just kind of like throwing this out there, like we struggle with the concept of the Airbnbs now because they do
Mm.
well, and I don't really have to do anything for them.
Yeah.
The one in North Carolina, we don't really want to sell that one. The one in West Virginia does extremely well, but we don't have that connection emotionally with that one because we don't really go there. We don't visit that town because it's 45 minutes west, but we do go to North Carolina a couple times a year. And so like I'm looking at the equity in there, and I'm like, it's not 10x, the cash flow. It's less than 10x, but is there something else that I could do with that equity? So that's a struggle that I'm having. It's not really a struggle, but it's something I'm pondering that I don't have an answer to yet. I'm like, I definitely
Yeah.
could sell this for a lot more than what we paid for it, and it has the record on the revenues. Sorry, I've been talking for like 10 minutes straight.
No, that's good, man.
So that's something that we're thinking about. I don't really have a question there, but
Yeah.
the people listening, like these are just thoughts that I have too. I'm like, okay, this is a good investment, but is it an investment that we want to keep holding? I struggle with that too.
Well, what you have to understand though is timing matters too. Like you've got very little deferred maintenance on that property in West Virginia. You've got multiple years of P&Ls to show for it, and like there's a lot of people out there looking to buy income, quote unquote buy income, right? And so like if I can give you $600,000 or $500,000 for that property and know that it's going to give me $100,000 of net next year or $80,000 of net, I'm looking at like a 20% return on my investment and a cash on cash return that's astronomical because I could finance it. And so like, I don't know. I mean, the part of the thing when you talk about real estate specifically is the reason that it's so important to identify what you're rolling and what you're capturing that equity now is because they do need full on overhauls after a certain amount of years. And so like if you've avoided expenses for 5 or 6 years, you can bet your ass those expenses are coming due. Because like the life cycle on a home is like 5 to 7 years before shit really starts breaking. Big mechanical stuff, expenses that are like whatever $4,000 to $7,000 or bigger. And and so if you haven't been experiencing that stuff, like you can count your lucky stars, and timing matters on rolling that stuff up. And you're never going to be perfect about it. It's going to be kind of a roll of the dice of things. Um, but I mean, like I said on the inner circle call, that's why I don't like completely paid off properties unless you're using them for lines of credit and to leverage them as collateral within some other form of investment. Because like the people that think that they're going to Dave Ramsey their way to a paid off rental property and pay the fucking thing off are they're doing great. They're great stewards as savers. But like at the end of the day, if you forecast that you're going to make $1,000 a month from that home when it's paid off, um, considering taxes and insurance and everything else that you never get away from, um, you're going to have those maintenance costs. You're gonna have a $20,000 make ready at some point where someone tears up your house, and like if you're counting on $12,000 a year of net to live on, you've set yourself back now a year and 10 months of income to do that. So you just have to really be careful about that stuff. I just don't like people too heavily leveraged where they're trying to get like 3 paid off properties so that they can make $5,000 a month, and like that's their swan song to like retirement or whatever.
Well, I like that you said that on the call too, because like we've been talking about the paid off home method, just like as a strategy. And when we had originally listed the commercial building, I was like, okay, well, if this actually does sell, we in theory could pay off both Airbnbs, and then that's almost like 80 to 90% full cash flow after expenses. I think that would, and we're not talking like small little single unit residentials. The cash flow would be bigger. I'm like, that would be nice. But the big expenses, like you said, are coming. And I thought about that, and I was like, I don't really want to deal. I don't have the experience dealing with that shit. And I know it's a couple phone calls and close the calendar,
Sure.
and like, but like you've gone through completely overhauls. You fix like I just don't even. I don't have the DNA to have the desire to do that. So I'm like, there is a strategy here just to sell the damn things after 2 to 3 years and let someone else get the income and then deal with the next thing. So it's
Or a way to do it is if you're sitting in limbo, like, hey, you could take the proceeds from those properties and pay off those Airbnbs with the intention of opening a line of credit on those paid off Airbnbs, and then you'd be sitting there waiting for your next thing, making an ass load of monthly income. Like I would suggest doing that if you didn't have some next project to
right.
put that money in within 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting in the next 90 days if that West Virginia property gets listed. It's just something to think about. So
Yeah.
I know we could sell it
Well,
very
shop it in
easily.
the group first, man.
Yeah. Well, I know
Shop it in the group
some guys
first.
have
There might
reached
be
out.
people that want to buy it.
Yeah, some guys have reached out, and so I'll get those conversations. Now, at that point, you'd sell it off market if you had a buyer. You wouldn't even deal with it, and I've never done that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's easy. I can walk you all through that if you need to. You're going to save 6% in the
Yeah.
realtor fees and just pay for a lawyer and get your contracts written up. It's too easy. Title will take care of everything like they always do anyway.
Deal. That makes it way more attractive because I'm like doing the math, and I'm like, yeah, I could sell it for this, but I got to take 6% off the top, and that's not fucking fun.
Yeah,
You don't have that much appreciation in a year and a half, 2 years to offset
yeah,
that. So
sure.
awesome.
100%, man.
Well, Jeff,
Well,
go ahead.
congratulations on everything that you guys have done. You've done a kick-ass job. I think personally, investing in businesses and real estate is the best investment you can make. You're gonna pull off 30 to 40% net profit on that investment from an active service business, and you're also then every dollar you're putting back and reinvesting in that business is growing the overall asset on the back end too.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't, it's not even close to apples to apples to like investing in the stock market at all, because you're growing something actually meaningful while generating cash flow, and there's going to be some sort of exit or an asset you're growing anyway. So like I think you 100% made the right decision. You just have to measure your effective hourly rate on it,
Yeah.
like what's it paying you per hour that you invest in it, and
Right.
like obviously I'm sure that's going to be a tremendous number. So congratulations to you and Kate, and adding to your portfolio. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys are at in 12 months.
Well, I'm excited. It's nice to see the storage unit project wrap up, and then you're moving on to the next one. So, Jeff, it was good to shoot the shit. Damn, it's one of our longer episodes. 30 minutes of catching up. Man, I appreciate you. And ladies and gentlemen, hopefully it's been fun to hear some of the projects that Jeff and I have been working on. Why we run some solo episodes, just because we are also building businesses. We are not just talking heads on the podcast. We are out there doing the damn thing. Jeff, send the people out.
Yep. Join us in the Tactical Empire community. Follow our Facebook page, Instagram. It's the Tactical Empire everywhere. You can send us messages and ask us any questions, inquiries. Obviously, we got deals flowing, as you've heard on this. If you're looking for Airbnbs to buy, if you want a storage facility, 128 units south of Houston, hit me up. I know a guy, and
Let's go.
let us know. And 25 is going to be a big year for everybody. Hopefully, you're surrounded by the right folks. Hit us up if you want to be in our group or if you have any questions for us. Take care.